Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another round of the SSRA Clio Cup here at Simsport Racing International. This time in the beautiful northern area of Croft. No beautiful voice of Chris Buxton tonight. Not feeling too well. Hope he gets better soon. I'm sure I will be joined intermittently by our camera coordinator today, Steve Powsley.
Good evening, Adam. Yeah, great to be here, mate. And yeah, get well soon, Chris. Obviously, not nice being ill, but yeah, what better place to be at this moment in time than Croft? A fantastic circuit, and it's going to suit these Clios down to the ground, I think.
Absolutely. Well, big news out of round one is that due to a post-race abundance of penalties, almost like a ton of sanctions rained down upon our drivers, it shook up the grid massively. This included giving Max Mass the eventual race to win after the penalties were applied. This now puts him at the top of the standings with basically his maximum amount of points to his name. And this even bigger news is that Andrew Richardson, who currently sits second in the championship, 14 points back, is not here tonight. So this is going to allow Max Mass a little bit more of a gap to his championship run. We will still see Justin Wellblow, Stu Neal, Tom O'Farrell in the racing. We're not sure about Ross McGregor. He is a doubt for tonight. We do know that Valanduk is not here. He's currently sat in P7. I believe he was higher up, but with a lot of penalties due to the corner cutting at the chicane in the second round, pushing him further down and eventually finishing 9th after penalties. So hopefully not as many penalties here today, Steve.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, Croft, it does encourage some fast racing. It's a pretty quick circuit, as we were discussing off air just a few moments ago, but there are some tricky corners, there's some tricky infield bit. The final sector is quite tight and tricky, and especially the hairpin as you come back onto the start-finish straight. But it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle it, because there's going to be some big advantages to be had by slipstreaming. But the beauty of the One Make series is it just comes down to driver talent and bravery, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, the format for tonight is, I believe we're just waiting for qualifying to get underway, but we have a 20-minute qualifying session followed by two 20-minute races. I believe the top 10 being reversed in the second race. So obviously the advantage of the pole in race 1 and maybe even the race win in race 1 doesn't inherently mean you're going to have a great run throughout both races on the night. Obviously we're waiting for the footage to go live for the qualifying round, but obviously, like I say, we've got a commanding lead now for Max Mass. In fact, the nearest competitor is currently we are sat 15 points back. So obviously a race win will definitely put them back into the contention if Max Mass has a unfortunate race 1, but obviously we're yet to see where he starts in qualifying and indeed where he starts in the race. You can see the top-down view of the circuit there, showing not as oval-like as Thruxton, but definitely just as quick, as we now jump into qualifying. 15 minutes left to go, so everybody's starting to go out on their outlaps now. Obviously Justin Wellblow, currently the closest challenger to Max Mass. In fact, there you go, Max Mass and Justin Wellblow, both on the same piece of tarmac there as they head towards Tower Bend now.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of side-by-side jockeying for position already, Adam. I suppose it is important, is it, to try and get that track position to get a good flying lap, but equally so, it's very easy to tow someone around here as well. There are lots of opportunities to catch that draft, catch that slipstream, and I think the grid will be quite tight. I mean, obviously I was unfortunate I didn't get to see round 1, but I believe that these drivers in this One Make Clio Cup Championship, I think they will be quite tight on times, and I think every 10th, if not every 1,000th, is going to count. So if you can just hang back enough to give yourself enough room to get a flying lap in, but also catch a cheeky little slipstream when you need it, it could just pull you the extra 10th.
Absolutely right there. I mean, with One Make series, with the obviously the drivers were given the decision at the start of the season whether they would want to continue on a default setup that is set for every round, or obviously having the setups open. They chose the fixed setup, and we saw a lot of close racing in the first round, with obviously Max Mass coming out ahead in the end. But obviously it makes a lot of difference on the opening lap. As you can see there, Max Mass obviously left the pit lane, must have left a bit later than Justin. You can see the outlap time slowly coming out, so none of the times that are coming up on the board now are representative of the driver's actual ability and the actual pace. As we've got Malone, I believe this is the first time we've seen him on circuit, as we've got Lorenzo Malone red, so he's had an accident somewhere. If a car shows up red, obviously, it means they've had an accident, and I'm sure if we can catch them, we'll see what's going on. But you can see here, Ben Malone, I think this is the first round we have seen him. In fact, yes, it is. So this is a newcomer to the series. Obviously, we haven't got our other newcomer here tonight. Name evades me, but obviously he was meant to be here tonight. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. In fact, I think he's there, Mr. Christie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's looking like potentially sat in the pits at the moment, but he's out on track now. No, I correct myself. He's there, out on track. So we'll see what lap times Mr. Christie can put in. I'm sure plenty of people recognise that that name from the commentary box. So he's usually sat in a commentary box somewhere talking about the racing. So let's see if he can drive the drive like he talks the talk.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I was commentating not just over a week ago now on, I believe it's Chris Hill, wasn't it? Normally a commentary box out on track with his teammate at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys there. You know, we appreciate everyone jumps into the commentary box to help out, and you know, to ensure we get a good quality stream and an informative voiceover for it. And you know, some of the guys do like to race and commentate, and it's always interesting to get an actual driver's point of view when they're commentating as well. It can be controversial.
Absolutely. Well, obviously every driver's going to have their opinions. I think you look at some of the commentators throughout history, some of the best commentators are, you know, ex F1 drivers. You got the, obviously, you look back at James Hunt, you look back at I quite like, and I know this is going to be controversial, but I do quite like Paul di Resta's commentary. I think he's a good insight. Jolyon Palmer less so, but that's just my opinion. As we can see, Tomo Fowle and Lorenzo Malone are going off again, so we can see times now starting to come up on the board. So Max Massey is actually matching his pole time so far. Stu Neal not too far behind. In fact, both drivers, in fact, all three drivers behind him, going slightly quicker. So Max Massey is currently on time to match his time. But as you can see, we've got Stu Neal, Sibrenstall, Aaron Large just behind him as Max now comes into the complex towards the end of the lap here. So obviously, all of a sudden, you're going from quite high speeds down through the gears, down to third and second. I believe I'd take second gear through here, obviously third, then back down to second through the hairpin as he comes through the final corner. Now it looks quick, in fact he's purple, so he is going to improve on his time if he's run through complex and hairpin correctly towards Clio. Now comes across the line and sets a faster lap. In fact, that's a very quick lap, a 1:34.1. Stu Neal is the next closest driver. He's got a little bit of traffic there. That looks like Toby Owen and a big logo car, number 22 of Van Binsbergen. So hopefully that's not held him up too much. It looks like it's a compromised run out of hairpin. And up to the line now, the closest competitor so far. He is still 8 tenths back. So Max Mass has clearly found a rhythm and is pulling away from the front of the, well, from the field. As Max Mass now, I think, has stopped out on circuit. I don't think he's had an accident, but I think he might have stopped out on circuit. So Tom Bunton now comes across the line to go 12th, stays 12th. So as we watch Curto, I think that might have been the red car commentating on earlier, but obviously he's now P3. So we've got Stefan de Groot with a small issue. Tom Bunton now going through, currently 13th. So Mark Pimlott here. In fact, I believe Mark was challenging for the front of the field quite a lot at round 1. We're looking now through, I'm sure he was there at round 1. Results say otherwise, but I definitely was on the server the other week, and him and his teammate were both testing here, so definitely going to be interested to see where he comes out.
Don't forget about the post-race penalties, though. That may have knocked him down the order if he was involved in any incidents. I'm not saying he was, because I haven't looked at those post-race penalties, but I know there were a few drivers were subjected to some investigations after the race.
Absolutely. Well, that's how Max Mass got his second win last time out at Thruxton, due to penalties being given, obviously excessive use of the track limits. As there are a few bits here at the circuit you can cut. I mean, obviously you can see that little bit of tarmac between the white line and the gravel trap, where a lot of people do tend to run 2 tyres over, and that's okay. But if you run it any more, then you run the risk of having a penalty.
yeah, for sure, it's all about pushing track limits, isn't it? Sometimes gaining as much of an advantage as you can, but that can bite you and it can ruin your race, or certainly ruin your qualifying session, because I think qualifying is quite a high pressure point, isn't it, where, you know, quite literally you know, you've got to get that perfect lap in, and it's quite difficult when there's so many cars out on tracks. We see that the Wild Things Clio there just having to run out wide a little bit as the other Clio came out of the pits, and the pit exit obviously is straight into the racing line, so it's going to be a bit of a dodgy one if anyone's in pits this evening during the race. I mean, I don't think they have to pit, do they, this evening, but if they were to have to pit for any reason and come out, they will have to keep their eyes peeled.
Absolutely. Well, there is no mandatory pit stop. However, obviously one accident does obviously all of a sudden there's an issue there where you're coming back out. I've been there. I've been lucky enough to be at Croft. In fact, I was there last year for the 750 Club Enduro race, and I got incredibly sunburnt. But the track itself lends for great racing. You know, tight, close formation racing. Obviously, not as every British circuit has the tradition. Quite a narrow track, but still great opportunities to pass.
Yeah, we've seen David Christie here. He's cutting his teeth currently in P14, 1.1 seconds off the pace, according to the timing tower. So maybe he'll be looking to improve, but he's running out of time to do that. We're now down to 7.5 minutes left to go, and the pressure's starting to build a little bit, isn't it, Adam? Because I mean, a circuit like Croft, it's a fast circuit, and I think with some of these faster circuits, it's harder to find the time, isn't it? You know, where we see David now in this tight, twisty bit at the back end on the final sector, this is where you'll probably be easiest to find the time by pushing a bit harder into the braking zones and whatnot. But when you're in the other fast parts, flat out is flat out. There's nothing more you can do. Absolutely.
Again, it's all about setups for the next sequence of straights and such. So through the chicane, especially through Hawthorne and the chicane, you've got to set yourself up really well, because if you don't, Tower Bend becomes essentially a pinch point for yourself, and you lose 2 to 3 tenths. You can see there the Clio has a unique way of braking, almost wants to step out, and you almost want to let it step to rotate the car, almost like a rally car. You let the rear rotate a little bit more to for your corner entry.
Yeah, and I think credit to David, he did improve on that last lap, but he's still but unfortunately the front runners are also improving, and that's putting him further away from the front end of the field. But as with any sort of one make racing, you usually find somebody to race with on the grid, so I'm sure he'll have a good outing tonight in at least one of the two races, if not both of them. So good luck to Mr. Christie on the grid this evening.
Absolutely. Again, obviously there's some amazing drivers here. Drivers I've been driving against for quite a while, like Aaron Large, obviously has been here since the VRCC folded into the SSR8 program, and indeed a MX5 driver by trade, I believe, but having a go in these front wheel drive, quite chunky cars, obviously quite different to the old Clios. I remember watching the older Clios run round and the entertainment they gave. And Tom O'Farrell again goes purple. I think that's sector 1 he's gone purple in, so he seems to lose a lot of time through the back sector. So whether he's found a little trick that he's found using to find the time in sector 1, I'm not quite sure, but you can see he's gone purple in sector 1. I think here we are in sector 2 now, so he comes into the complex now, so comes up to the heavy braking zones, almost a hairpin in itself. There you go. So he loses so much time in sector 2. I would love to know where he loses that time. He runs it wide.
Maybe, I mean, in sector 2, maybe it's been that he, on that fastest lap that he set, maybe he got sort of cheeky slipstream, and maybe that sector 2 is out of reach when he's not behind the car. You know, who knows? There are many reasons, I suppose, and we could clutch at it all evening long. But the bottom line at the moment is Tom O'Farrell P4 at the moment, and that seems to be the best he can do, because to be half a second off in the middle sector on your own time, that's a long way off, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is a long way off, and you can see that a lot of the drivers haven't been able to get close to Max Massey. He's set a 1:34.1 right at the beginning of the session. He just really hasn't had much in the way of competition. Obviously, Justin's got a lot closer than they were at the start, as Malone has gone off somewhere back into the pits. He's gone now. Sivrin Stoll is doing a fairly good job there. He's currently 8 tenths up on his time, so it should be quite close when he comes across the line.
Yeah, he's jumped up a place there, up to 6th place, improved as you said all the way through there, and gained some time, but just another place further up on the grid, which is great. I mean, that'll keep him on the same row as he was on, but just potentially on the inside this time instead of the outside.
Absolutely. Again, obviously this is going to be the focal point, I think, of the race, the chicane. Obviously it's not big enough to go too wide. Going 3 wide would just be utter disaster. Justin is currently 2 tenths up on his time, so he's going to improve. He's not close enough to Max to really challenge, I don't think. I think it will just get him closer to Max, and maybe the next run will be quicker. But right now, obviously, he's currently improving by about 2 tenths. There you go, he's had another half a tenth there. Sunil's also improved by 2 tenths. As Tom O'Farrell's come into the pits. Aaron Large is improving by 4 tenths. There we go, he's lost a bit of time in sector 2. So it's interesting to note that Justin didn't lose too much time, so he must have had a really good run through the second sector. There you go, he's improved on his time, but is still 4 tenths back from Max Mass. So with 3 minutes left, we have Aaron Large here going towards turn 1 Clairvaux there. Chris Fisher going towards the complex now. That is, I think, Toby Owen or his teammate Tom Bunton. Sorry, it was Tom Bunton, number 43 car, going off in ahead of him towards complex and the hairpin at the end of the lap now. Chris Fisher is improving. In fact, he's 1.1 seconds up on his best time, so he's going to set a good time coming across the line. Here comes Cohen de Groot now. He does improve, but only by 1 place. So Tom Bunton's now knocked down to 14th. Chris Fisher comes to the line in 10th place, so he jumps a few more places. So Chris Fisher now into the top 10. David Christie coming out of the hairpin now he currently says he's improving by about 2 seconds. So we'll see how it is across the line. 2 minutes left to go. Doesn't improve on his position, but does improve on his time.
Must have been an invalid lap then, is that? I'm guessing that's how it works on the simulation with this one, that obviously if track limits are ignored at some point on the lap, it will discount that lap. Absolutely.
Obviously if you run too wide, it invalidates your time. Almost reminiscent of the other games around at ACC. Obviously, run off too much, it does invalidate your time. Obviously, in the race, it'll be a slightly different matter. It's just judged as to whether you have gained an advantage, or obviously, if you've lost an advantage, then carry on as you was. That's a contact between the 22 and the 42. So Van Binsbergen, slow on the inside, doesn't get out of the way in time for Toby to turn in, and Toby just turns into him.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one that, wasn't it? I was just going to give Toby a big shout out as the event well, he's the chief organiser of our AC leagues and does a fantastic job with the mod team, but not doing such a good job on that lap there. But yeah, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that was a case of obviously just a little bit of miscalculation, we'll call it. As talking miscalculation, I think that was Chris Fisher exploring the rallycross circuit on the outside. Well, the inside of the circuit. There's a massive grass field in the middle of the circuit. I remember doing a Janetta League back in the day and watching somebody spear off from the chicane all the way to the other side.
Tom O'Farrell's gone purple in sector 1.
He's done it again. So where is he finding this time in sector 1? You can see how quick he is.
This is going to be his last lap as well. Going to be his last lap as well. Sorry for talking over you there, buddy. But yeah, this is going to be his last lap, so it's all out now, isn't it? It's all on the line.
It's all on the line here. He wants to improve. You can see he's got the pace to do it through sector 1. Watching now through sector 2, it looks clean so far. Coming up to complex, gets on the brakes. It looks clean. It probably is clean. In fact, no, it's not. There you go. He loses 3 tenths. So maybe the slipstream is really important going through from Tower Bend to Sunny Out. It must be important to have that slipstream.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a fast part of the track, isn't it? But Tom O'Farrell, Tom will be disappointed with that because he's a quick guy, but that's not a bad place to be on the second row, is it?
Absolutely not. He's on second row behind Justin, so Justin normally is actually quite good at his start, so he could get a good start there and challenge Max off the line. But Max Mass is going purple. Max Mass hasn't clearly got the memo that this is the end of qualifying. He's gone purple in sector 1. See how much track he takes. It's really wide. They're almost all 4 wheels off the circuit. That would invalidate his time, but he's gone really clean. Sunny in now, rotates the car, lovely. dips 2 tyres onto that little bit of dirt patch there, comes through, sunny out, curbing, that's fine. You can see there, subway car just in front of him. That was Mark Pimlott, I believe. So it comes into the complex now, and there you go. So yeah, it's definitely something to do with the slipstream through those sectors that seems to inhibit the car in terms of its straight line performance. But you can see now Max Mass should stay on the pole. There's nobody else around to challenge him. There's only one car left out on track. In fact, it's still Hilton, and Max Mass comes across the line for pole position.
Yeah, absolutely great qualifying. That it's a fantastic little track, is Croft, isn't it? It's you know, it's underused due to regulations in the local area, but it's a fantastic circuit. It really promotes bravery, I think, is the key phrase. But good evening to everyone in the stream. Good evening to Cameron Fife, and yeah, Cameron's proper track, loves it, and it is as I was telling you earlier, Adam. Previously, it was one of my local circuits. I mean, I'm blessed with local circuits because that was my local circuit. Now Cadwell Park is my local circuit, so 2 of the best tracks in the in the UK for me for club racing.
Absolutely, obviously my 2 local tracks are Alton Park and Anglesey. So I think in terms of luck and like natural beauty, I've definitely got it there. I think Anglesey, one of the best circuits to look at.
Yeah, just take a big coat with you because it's always windy.
Oh no, it's fine. The sideways rain is a feature. I've been telling people this.
You don't need to waste horsepower by putting the wipers on if the rain's sideways. It naturally comes off the windscreen.
Funny story, actually. I was once at Race of Remembrance, and my wipers broke in the middle of a rainstorm. The wiper motor sheared off in the middle of a rainstorm on my way back to my dad's. So I had to drive for 20 minutes with no wipers in a severe rainstorm coming back from Anglesey Circuit. That was probably the scariest drive I've ever done.
Yeah, that's not much. That's not going to be much fun, I'm sure of that. But exciting news. The cars are on the grid, and
we love to see it.
I'm going to let you talk us through this race, and I'll be here if you need me. But I'm going to focus on the cameras and try and bring you the best of the action.
Absolutely, thank you very much, buddy. Well, always glad to hear your input. So we can see on the pole, Max Mass starting on the inside line with Justin Wellblood just next to him in that number 30 JW Designs car. Just behind them, Stu Neill in the number 4 Area Type R Championship Clio, which is confusing as it sounds. Tom O'Farrell next to him in the 2. I can't pronounce the team name. I can't see it from here properly due to the blue colour, but I believe I've seen him before in a Maserati and now changing to a Renault Clio. It's Aaron Large behind him in the number 11 car with Alex Curto next to him in the Wild Things Racing Clio. Cyprian Stoll behind them with Steve Hilton for company. Ben Malone behind him alongside Chris Fisher, Mark Pimlott, Toby Owen taking up row 6 of the grid with Cohen de Groot and Tom Bunton on row 7. Row 8 is David Christie and Jari van Spindbergen, and that is our full grid. So as you can see here, lovely graphic. That is a beautiful looking graphic here as we're sat on board with Justin and watching Max Mass on the line. We're waiting for the lights to come on now. Shouldn't be too long. Again, obviously it would be lovely to have the tones of Chris Buxton here tonight. I think he does a much better job at introducing some of these drivers. But obviously we'll make do with what we got. You're going to be stuck with me for the night, guys. But as ever, you know, great racing, great start to it as well, with the qualifying being so close, especially in that middle of the field. So we can't be too long now from the race. As you can see, Justin Wellblood there in his number 30 car alongside the number 58 Max Mass. Not as big a grid as we had at Thruxton, but equally just as talented, and it should be great to see how close they get across towards turn 1 and definitely in towards that chicane.
Yeah, the anticipation of the lights coming on, it's killing me. I mean, it's going to be a great race. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to be all about that turn 1, isn't it? Through the first 3 turns, really, through that chicane until they get out on the back straight. That's when they'll start to really sort themselves out. Absolutely,
you're going to have a little bit of a jostling for position up until that point. Here we go. We've got the lights coming on now, so I'm going to be quiet and get ready for these guys to launch their way towards turn 1. We should see some great racing here at Croft for round 3 of the SRI Clio Cup, and we are away now. Max Mass gets a really good start. Justin Wellblood does exactly as I said. He gets a fairly decent start, but behind him, Tomo Farrell seems to have jumped almost. And he's jumped a really good start there. In fact, Justin having to defend from Stewart and from Tomo Farrell there. Tomo Farrell just slots in behind. They seem to have got away fairly clean. Toby Owen's not started. Toby Owen has had a off at turn 1. In fact, I think that's his teammate as well, Tom Bunton, who's gone off. So Max Mass now under attack from Justin Wellblood. Stu Neal slots in P3, so it's pretty much as you are from first to fourth. As you can see, Stu Neal now under attack from Tomo Farrell. Tomo Farrell looking down the inside. He's going to dive it down. Makes the move, sticks. The number 97 car now in front of the 4 of Stu Neal. Stu Neal fighting back now. You can see just there as he goes round the outside. There we go. He's going to go back in. He's going to look maybe later on in the lap here towards Barcroft and Sonny in. He's going to look down the inside, and Tomo Farrell is wise to it. He gets a little bit of a bump for his troubles. So Justin now trying to hold on to the back of Max Mass. Max Mass seems to be in a rhythm of his own again. He's not really been challenged off the line. He's going to try and shoot off into the distance here. So Tomo Farrell now under attack from Stu Neal. Aaron Large not far behind. Justin Wellblood, sole driver, trying to keep the hold of Max Mass there. He seems to be pulling away a little bit as we get to the end of the first lap here. So you can see Ben Malone has made past Mark Pimlott. Mark Pimlott lost 2 places there, as Malone has made 2 places up in one corner. Steve Hilton now trying to defend from Malone. So Malone now alongside Hilton as they come down towards Tower Bend now. Clairvaux now, sorry. As they come down, it looks like he's going to try the outside line. They're going to collide, but it's okay. A little bit of flash for his troubles. Holds it around the outside at Hawthorne Bend. They're going to come to the chicane now side by side. One of them's going to have to back out surely. They don't back out, and in fact, there you go. Malone makes the position, but then runs wide. This is going to put him under attack from 5 drivers. There you go. There's all 5 drivers now right behind him. You can see all the way back to, I think that is Cohen de Groot right at the back of the pack. Tom Bunton has had an accident somewhere, so it is the battle of the orange cars. And there you go. Malone gets collided with David Christie. He takes 3 cars with him. That was Malone, Christie, and I believe Pimlott. So Pimlott, Christie, and Malone all of a sudden now going from fighting for 10th to dropping all the way back there. Tomo Farrell now past, or still holding off, sorry, the advances of Stu Neal, but Max Mass has pulled away. This is allowing Tomo Farrell now to focus on Justin in front of him. So Justin now under attack from Tomo Farrell. There's Cohen de Groot joining the back there. Toby Owen making up 3 places after the small accident he had at the start. We didn't see quite what happened with him, but he's going to make his way around the outside, be overtaken by Cohen de Groot, but he's going to have the inside line for the next corner. Can he defend it? I don't think he can. He's going to have to look for a better move later on towards the end of the lap here now. Once again side by side, but can't make the move stick as Cohen de Groot holds him off just that little bit longer. Great racing, as we can see now. Obviously everybody going across the line. Tomo Farrell still right on the back of Justin Wellblood, so you can see the the battle for second place there is sort of raging on. Aaron Large has lost touch a little bit at the back there. You can see a little bit of a gap starting to form now, as there's a small gap between himself, Curto, and Stoll. Hilton obviously at 3 seconds back now after the interesting expedition at Tower Bend. As we can see them, the top 4 now going through Tower Bend. There's top 5, 6, 7 as they come through now. So there's a gap between 7th and 8th. You can see just how big it's got now as we watch Tomo Farrell chase down the number 30 of Justin Wellblood, and that JW Designs blue-yellow flavoured machine is beautiful looking. Again, Justin, a really good design artist and, wow, a good friend of SSRI. Still under attack from Tomo Farrell. Well, what an opening 5 minutes we've had. We've had a lot of drama right at the start there. A few small incidents, including for the series organiser, Toby Owen, who just hasn't caught a break so far this series. He's had a lot of incidents in the opening laps. In fact, I believe he was taken out on the opening lap of Thruxton at round 1. So, as there we go, Tomo Farrell looks down the inside. I don't think he was ever going to stop the car there if he was going to make the move. So, he's wise to it and obviously slots in behind again Justin Wellblood. Justin Wellblood doing a good job to hold him back. And this is obviously going to put them at the back, or sorry, into the middle of the pack even, for race 2, as we are now 15 minutes in. Oh, sorry, 15 minutes left from the flag. There we go. Tom O'Farrell still almost pushing Justin through Hawthorne's Bend now as they come towards the chicane. He's going to look maybe towards Tower Bend for a move, like Stu Neal did at the start of the race. So with 14:40 left, we've got Tom O'Farrell around the outside. He's going to look down the outside. Be a brave move if he can hold it. He's going to run a little bit too wide. Justin having the more preferred line there, and he does slot back into second place. So these two going back and forth now between each other, trading positions. There you go. Tom O'Farrell's now going to look around the outside. Don't think this, if this sticks, is a very good move. He's going to make it well worked. He's pushed Justin off slightly. That's a little bit of racing contact, but there's nothing untoward. As Tom now goes down the inside, gets a little bit of later on the brakes into Sunny in, coming towards Sunny out now. Justin is now behind completely, so Stu Neal can now have a look at Justin, as Tom would like that, and it'll allow him to obviously skate off into the distance after Max Mass. So Steve, as much accent as you were hoping for in the start of the race?
Yeah, absolutely. Some fantastic action, and it's good to see Toby Owen a little bit further back has just managed to pass De Groot. We missed the overtake simply because these boys are battling so hard, and it looks like O'Farrell just got a tag on the back from Justin there in the braking zone, the hairpin. But all good, managed to catch it and didn't get turned around, and it's now Well Beloved that's coming under pressure.
Absolutely. Well, these cars obviously last used in the UK motorsport as a feeder series for obviously the main touring car series, obviously the British touring cars. Always great action to watch. I remember turning the TV on a Saturday, seeing these things hurtling around and just enjoying every second of it. So you can see just how much racing, well, virtual racing, real life racing translates to the virtual world, as these three drivers up ahead now just want that, well, any points are good points, and these guys are fighting as hard as they can to try and make themselves, to try and get as many points as they can. As Justin Webber still under attack from Stu Neal, but this has given Tom O'Farrell a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing room here as Justin hunts him down.
Yeah, I think Tom O'Farrell's got his head down now, and he's got that bit of a gap, hasn't he? But he's got that big gap up to Massey at the front, and it's that's going to be a difficult one to close down in 12.5 minutes. But I think the main action was Well Beloved, but he's managed to just stretch away from Neal as well a little bit now, and it just takes a small mistake to open that gap back up, and 7 or 8 tenths can be so hard to pull back, can't it?
Absolutely. Obviously, a track like this, it is a bit of a procession after the first few laps, but as we've seen, you can absolutely overtake here. It's not impossible. All these corners are good overtaking corners. I think none better than obviously Tower Bend, Hawthorne Bend. Some great turns that lead towards the straights to allow drivers to go side by side. You can see that there's gaps now obviously expanding. Toby Owen the closest to Van Binsbergen down in 13th, but it's not too bad. No, obviously Justin is still hot, tagging on the back of Tom. So one mistake will allow Justin to catch up. And
yeah, that's all it takes as well, isn't that one mistake? But Justin's, it seems like now that they're not putting each other under pressure, they are in a bit of a rhythm, and they're all finding their own pace, and that pace is very similar to each other, so the gaps are remaining pretty stagnant now. O'Farrell's pulled out to about a second away, but it's interesting, Justin seems to prefer a tighter line in that Clio than O'Farrell, and he seems to be able to turn it better, but O'Farrell seems to be able to carry more speed because he opens the corner up more. He takes a wider entry and a wider exit.
That possibly could explain where Tom was losing a lot of time in this middle sector. Obviously it's quite a flowing sector, so you've got to take a bit of a tighter line. It's not as easy as just throwing the car in and letting it stick. Normally the car's obviously, with the limited downforce it has, needs to be as grippy as it can through. As you can see Toby Owen, just how quick he is caught up to the back of Van Binsbergen. So we've got in fact the fight here for 12th place. A bit further up the road, obviously Chris Fisher is currently in reverse poles. There we go, Van Binsbergen almost around, somehow holds the line. Obviously it's going to give, I think he's going to give the positions just out of respect. There you go, he does let Toby through. He knows that he's sort of lost the position there. Very well held though, obviously incredible to hold a half spin like that, as he's going to go 3 wide into complex. So Van Binsbergen squeezes his teammate wide even. So De Groot now wide, and I think with damage he goes down the inside there, so he's not going to even challenge the driver there, number 64 David Christie. Definitely not Italian, obviously hasn't changed his nationality on the Kuno system, but obviously, yeah, currently showing as Italian, but I'm 99% sure that's not accurate.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure he'll confirm that if we get a chance to have a talk with him later.
I'm sure he will. So Mark Pimlott here, chasing the back of Van Binsberg, and now number 22 big logo machine under attack from the 99 subway car. Very interesting to see a subway car. I think this is one of the more base default liveries, but again, obviously, it's still a really nice addition to the grid. It adds a bit more colour. Definitely doesn't make me hungry for subway though.
Yeah, he got a good run through the chicane though, did Pimlott there. You see how much more speed he managed to carry, which has allowed him to get the outside line. He's gone all the way around the outside. What a move! That was awesome.
Absolutely, that was a very impressive move. I think we've seen a few attempts by Tom, by Stu to use the outside line to try and overtake, and we've seen them all fail. As that looks like Cone de Groot taking an adventurous line through Jim Clark, Esses and Barcroft there. So through Sonny, and now he's going to lose the position there to Dave Christie. So now it's going to be the battle of the big logo cars for the wooden spoon here. So, I mean, wooden spoon avoidance here at the back between the two big logo cars and David Christie. Obviously, David Christie now looking to try and pull away and follow Pimlott and Toby towards Tom Bunton, his teammate, and obviously eventually Chris Fisher, hopefully, with the little bit over 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, and shout out to David Christie, because he was involved in that incident right at the beginning of the race, and I think he was dead last, and I think he was actually 3 or 4 seconds back as well. So he rejoined, he's kept his head down, and he's picked up a couple of positions, so he's no longer at the back there. He's now sat in a nice P14. I'm sure he'll want to get higher, but he's pushing on now.
Absolutely. Obviously, race 1 hasn't been a great race for a few drivers, obviously, not to mention Toby. I believe Cohen started higher up than where he is now. Obviously David Christie as well. Mark Pimlott definitely not in the positions they're used to being in, as Max Mass has still pulled away, so he's got 4.3 seconds. Now obviously in a GT series, with setups, you can expect a gap like this maybe over 10-15 minutes. This is a default car with a default setup, everybody in the exact same machinery, the exact same amount of time to practice, the exact same amount of time in qualifying. This is quite a gap to extend.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's about getting that good start, isn't it? He's obviously got the pace because he put it on pole position, so he's got the hot lap pace, and if he can get out there and not be threatened, it's all about hot lap pace. That's what you're doing every single lap, just trying to hit those markers and get those moves done, and just keep it on the black stuff in the fastest possible fashion. And he's certainly done that, and it's a fantastic drive. Like you say, in this space of time, only half the race gone, and he's already pulled out. Just over half the race gone, sorry, and he's pulled out for nearly 5 seconds, so it doesn't bode well for the rest of the field, does it?
It does not, but we'll wait and see how it goes for him. With 6 minutes 43 left, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
See, Justin Wellbeloved was really attacking the curbs there, and the little Clio was protesting a little bit and bouncing on the rebound and just shaking its back end a little bit. That'll make the car a little bit unstable on the exit, but managed to keep it all in line, keep the power on, and that's the thing with these front wheel drive Clios. It's all about getting that foot in, isn't it, and managing the understeer rather than controlling any oversteer.
Absolutely. Again, obviously, like I say, these cars like to lock up at the rear, and it does help sometimes with the rotation of the car. I know in my testing, I did a little bit of testing offline, and I definitely find it better to sort of let the car slide itself naturally. Obviously, all the weight being over the front end, the rear does like to step out a little bit more, but there's no power to really catch it, so you just sort of have to let it do its thing. Tom O'Farrell seems to have been reeled in a little bit more here, so I'm not sure whether Tom is gaining. He's losing time to Max Mass. That's obviously evident by the laps there, but you can see that Tom O'Farrell is actually slower now than Justin Wellbeloved. So Justin is closing the gap slowly, but obviously there is definitely enough time there for Justin to close that gap completely and challenge for that second place. Justin, I think, would jump then to second place in the championship, with obviously our number 2 driver not here today, which is obviously unfortunate. We hope to see everybody back who has missed this round. It's obviously Andrew Richardson currently not here for this race.
Yeah, good to see 16 cars actually out on track though at this moment in time, and all having a good battle here, there and everywhere. And Cohen de Groot's just put a purple lap time in, so that's his best lap of the race on that last lap. So he's now finding his feet, and he's got some clear air, but he's not far behind P15 at the moment. In fact, he's looking like he's potentially going to try and make a move.
Absolutely, you can see there the gap at the back slowly shrinking. You can see that now within.
Side by
there you
side.
go, he's alongside. So the big logo car's now alongside. The green 15 goes round the outside, sweeps back. There you go. So Van Binsbergen sweeps quite aggressively back over, allowing his teammate through. But obviously that's going to run wide. So the battle almost over before it began. There with Ben Malone now currently catching Steve Hilton just ahead of him. So Fisher currently sat on the reverse pole. Malone in P2 for the reverse race. Obviously P9 currently. And only less than a second from Steve Hilton right now. Super Stoll, yeah, Van Binsbergen off somewhere. So Stoll a bit further ahead of these two now. This is the closest battle we have on the track at the moment. In fact, there you go, Van Binsbergen now in the pit lane. So some form of damage to the number 22 big logo car.
Ooh, that looked like a little bit of netcode or something there. Hilton's car just seemed to take a step backwards almost.
That did look interesting. Yeah, I don't know whether that was netcode or another issue, but Malone, all of a sudden, the Welsh driver, number 3, under attack now from Chris Fisher. So after challenging Hilton for what was going to be 8th place, he's now being challenged for 9th place by Chris Fisher.
Yeah, it just goes to show how it can all change. They go side by side now, and it's going to be who's bravest on the brakes and who favours the outside line there. Is he going to be able to hold it? He is. That's a good, solid defence of that corner. I don't think he could have done much better than that.
Absolutely not. He's done really well there to hold out against the experienced driver that is Chris Fisher. He's going to do a little bit more defending here as they come towards Sunny Inn. Now they go through there. I forget the name of the circuit corner, but obviously as they come towards Sunny Inn now, you can see there's a little bit gap extended again. So Malone going to try and get back into his rhythm for the end of this race here. 2 minutes 40 left, almost 2.5 minutes left. Tomo Farrell still not being left alone by Justin Wellblood. Justin Wellblood obviously trying as hard as he can here to get that P2 from the beautiful black, orange and a little hint of blue there on that Clio in front of him. So this seems to be the closest battle on track so far. Only exception being Chris Fisher still in the back of Ben Malone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Justin Wellbeloved, to be fair, he's as close as he has been since the opening laps. I think at this point now, since O'Farrell managed to get past him, this is as close as Wellbeloved's managed to get back towards him. He was almost within 0.6 in that final sector, and he's just skipping out, asking a little bit too much of the back end there. Or maybe it's just, as you were saying, maybe it's just that driving style that you prefer to steer the car from the back rather than the front, maybe.
Absolutely, you can see that there's different driving. Obviously, there's always different driving approaches to regardless of what machinery you drive. Some more aggressive than others. You see that Justin is a bit more tight on his game. He lets the car run its natural course rather than fighting it. He lets the car run. You can see that Tomo Farrell has a bit more of an aggressive style, trying to fight the car a little bit more. But it seems to be obviously working for him in defending away from Justin Wellblood.
Yeah, for sure.
So with 1 minute 7 left, it doesn't look like Max Mass is going to be challenged. He has lost his gap. It has reduced by about 0.4. Cohen's Group now right on the back of David Christie. Christie now looking to defend from the Dutch driver, number 15, right on the back there. Christie did go onto 2 wheels for a brief moment there, as Aaron Large sets his fastest lap.
Almost looked like Christie stuck a leg out to keep the car on all 4 wheels then. But yeah, he was really pushing, and I thought he was going to lose that position then just by the virtue of pushing too hard, which is very easy to do, especially when you've got someone like De Groot behind, because he's pretty quick, and I think 15th place doesn't do him justice at the moment.
Absolutely not. Well, 15th place for number 15 is not where he wants to be. I mean, a few of these drivers are further back just due to misfortune. So Tom Bunton's actually overtaken Mollum. So Mollum's had an issue somewhere, because now Tom Bunton actually sits in the reverse pole spot But obviously, one person we've not really mentioned much of, but alluded to, is Massey. He's just, again, in a class of his own in race 1. Nobody's been near him, nobody's touched him in terms of overtaking him. I think he's the only driver to just sort of sat in a position and stayed there. So from the pole, it's coming through the complex now. Doesn't seem to be any way, unless he does throw it away here right at the end, which I can't see him doing. Class from the German here, the clipper gun number 58 through the final turn now. Tom Bunton and Toby Owen fighting for another position. Tom Bunton in fact dropping 2 places, but here you go. Your race 1 winner for round 2 at Croft is Massey. Tommy Farrell coming across for P2. Justin Wellbluff just behind him in 3rd, with Stu Neal coming home 4th. Aaron Large, his best result of the season, in 5th, with a newcomer Curto in P6. Shimon Stoll coming home in 7th, with Steve Hilton and Chris Fisher coming up to the line now in 8th, 9th. Ben Marlam on the reverse pole here for the second race of this round, as Toby Owen now comes up to the line to finish a respectable 11th after the issues he had on lap 1. Mark Pimlott 12th, Tom Bunton 13th, David Christie, his first race, not one to remember here, in P14, with Cohen de Group just behind him there in P15. Well, what a race that was.
Yeah, that was a good one. I enjoyed that. First one of the season for me with the Clios, and it's some good racing. Some good racing. It was interesting to see. Once Mass got his head down and foot down, he was away, wasn't he? There was no one really going to challenge him. But no, fantastic racing. A couple of incidents further down the field which we could possibly have done without, messed up a few people's races. But hey, circuit like Croft, it's fast, but when you need to turn, you need to turn. And when you're in a one-make series like this, it's easy to come together, and a little bit of contact and you're on the grass.
Absolutely, you can see obviously, well, there was a few instances where drivers did end up on the grass, some net code, possibly some small bumps and scrapes from each other, but again, this is Clio racing, door-to-door Toka racing through and through. So, as we wait for the grid formation of round 2, that is Massey's 3rd win from 3 rounds of the season. There you go, Ben Marlam on the pole, Chris Fisher in P2, Steve Hilton, Sibren Stoll in P3 and 4 respectively, Alex Curto in the Wildlings Racing car in P5, Aaron Large alongside him in P6, Stu Neal 7th, Justin Wellbluff 8th, Tom O'Farrell 9th, and Massey, our race 1 winner, in P10. Toby Owen just behind him in P11 with Mark Pimlott in P12, Tom Bunton in P13 with David Christie alongside him, Cohen de Groot in 15th place. So we have lost one driver, I believe that was Van Binsberg, and he has not reappeared from the pit lane, so whether he's just had some internet issues or calling it quits for today, I'm not quite sure, but obviously we'll be unfortunate to not see him on the grid.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see how these guys handle the reverse grid, because that is a different level of racecraft in itself. For Massey in 10th place, he's going to have to be very careful, and he's going to be looking over his shoulder as well as looking ahead, and all working out how to get past those cars in front to try and get another podium, if not another race win, but also he'll be looking at how to avoid getting tangled up on his way through, because that is all too easy to do.
You are absolutely right. With obviously Clio Cup racing, it's a bit tighter, it's a bit more packed, with GT race machinery you tend to not collide with your opponent. And Clios, that they're sort of almost actively designed to have a little bit of a door bang and enjoy a little bit of door-to-door racing in a more traditional sense. Look at older touring car races, and obviously you see a lot of door-to-door action, and obviously there was no difference today with race 1. So yeah, we are there we go, the lights are here now, so we are waiting for these drivers to rev their engines up as we are about to get set for race 2 tonight. Lights are on, lights are off, and away we go. We have Ben Marlam on the pole, seems to get a good start, but even better on the start for the outside of him is Chris Fisher. Chris Fisher looking around the outside here as they come towards turn 1. You can see just behind him Steve Hilton and Simsport getting a good start as well. The Monster Energy car down the inside as Max Mass makes 2 positions on the opening run to turn 1. Tom O'Farrell making a position on Toby Owen and Mark Primlock there, jumping up to 11th place as well. So it seems to be everybody through safely this time round. So no incidents towards turn 1. We're going to come up towards turn 3 or 4 now. I think this is turn 4 is Tower Bend as they come through. There's a contact between Stu Neal and Justin. Justin Wellblove has a little bit of a nudge there from Stu Neal. I don't think there was anything too serious. They both carried on. So all drivers still pointing in the right direction as we come towards Barcroft now. Looks like a little bit of wide there from the 99 Mark Pimlock. Justin Wellblove in the P9 currently. Losing a position to Tom O'Farrell as they fight side by side. Justin and Tom have a collision. Who's that in the background? That's Christy. Christy off in the background. Christy throws it off sideways in the background, pointing in the right direction. That's someone backwards. It's Tom Bunton. Tom Bunton backwards. Another bad day for the Grid Finder cars as his day's gone from bad to worse. Toby Owen loses position at the start and his teammate Tom Bunton backwards.
Yeah, definitely difficult and definitely all going on, and it's all going on up and down the field right now. It's difficult to know where to watch right at this moment in time because this battle here for P2, P3, P4 is very, very tight. It looks like Chris Fisher's getting a little bit of breathing space up at the front. He's got that half a second, but there's certainly no breathing space there as they go through nose to tail, just coming through the left, right, and then into the right, long right-hander that never seems to end, and it does end. It ends with a little bit of a tight chicane with some very frightening tyre walls, but then onto the back straight now, and it's slipstream heaven now as they're going to go down here and look to go into through the slight kink left, flat out, looking for the slipstream and looking for the braking zone into that right-hander who can get the advantage.
Absolutely, you can see that Simsport a little bit later on the brake and Ben Malone in front of him. The Welsh driver trying to hold off Sibron. There's a little bit of contact at the back. It looks like everything's okay. So Max Mass currently making his way up through the field now. He's up to 6th. In fact, no, he's not anymore as Aaron Large decides, nope, that's my position still. I will not be letting you through that easily. Oh, that's contact! Huge amount of contact. Both drivers pointing in the right direction. Almost a synchronized drift there through. Alex Curto will take a little bit of relief from that, getting another position on Steve Hilton. All this is allowed is Max Mass to catch right up to the back. Tommy Farrell now following Max through. So these two are following each other through the grid right now. So Max Mass doing a very good job here, fighting his way through the pack towards the front. Chris Fisher needs to sort of extend his gap here now from the Welsh driver Ben Malone. There you go, Malone tucked a really tight line there as Max Mass gets another bump for his troubles. As Stu Neal tries to make it 3 wide in the hairpin. There you go, Aaron and Tom both wide off the hairpin. So both drivers now pushed wide because of the number 4 Renault. There they are now all coming towards the line. Looks like they've settled down a little bit more, but it's Tom O'Farrell now looking down the inside. He's going to look down the inside. He's not going to make it though. It looks like a little bit of damage to the windscreen. There is damage to the windscreen of Stu Neal's car. So if he's driving in the cockpit camera and he has the shaders patch enabled for it, he's going to have damage on his windscreen. I'm sure he's driven like that before with his real world exploits in his Civic, but at the moment Tom O'Farrell bearing down on him as Ben Malone is also bearing down. He's going to look down the inside of Fisher Motorsports car there on the outside. Ben Malone in the number 3 Capital One car on the inside. That turns into the outside of the Jim Clark S as he goes down back behind the number 87 car. The number 3 still looking. He runs incredibly wide. You'd have to give the position back. He made the move there. Coming through Barcroft now towards Sunny Inn. They're looking pretty much line to stern here again as he goes a little bit tighter, bumps the car over the curb and settles back behind Chris Fisher. So a little bit of a battle there that ends with Chris Fisher still holding the lead. Max Mass is going to be licking his lips seeing this, knowing that he's obviously got this opportunity now to catch up to the back. Tom O'Farrell now takes over the position from Steve Hilton. I don't know if it's going to stick because Hilton will not give away a position at all. Tom O'Farrell down the inside there does make the move stick. Back in 6th place now with Steve Hilton right behind him. Stu Neal's now going to dive down the inside. So he's now going to put Steve Hilton under pressure, pushes Steve wide. And it is a position gained for the number 4 Renault there as he goes side by side down the main straight now towards Clairvaux. They're going to look like looks like Steve should get the line back. He does. Justin's going to look down the inside as well as contact. both cars off. That's Steel North in a big way. Where is he going to come back out? Where is the Civic driver? There he is. There, he's come back out in front of Hilton. He's going to have to slow down. He's going to have to give all these positions back because there's no way the stewards will let it stick. So he's now going to have to drop behind. I think he's going to have to drop behind Justin. He's back down to 12. So these drivers here are fighting as hard as they can. In fact, no, he's not. He's not. So Toby now stuck behind the red Renault Clio there with Civic sponsorship all over it. As they come towards the Clark S's again, it looks like Wellblove's being attacked and overtaken by Cone de Groot. Cone de Groot's now going to look down the inside. He doesn't, of Toby Owen. So Toby Owen now under attack from the 3 drivers behind him, Wellblove, Christie and de Groot behind them. Here we go as we look at Aaron Large chasing down Mark Pimlock currently. This is a little bit closer in this race as Toby Owen is still under attack from 3 drivers behind him. All the way down to 14th place, Christie. Tom Bunton's somewhere on the circuit. We're not quite sure where, but he is somewhere. As Max Mass now into 4th place. As he challenges down the hairpin he goes, so he's back on the podium. The German is relentless here as he goes past Sibren Stoll towards the next target is the Welshman Ben Molam, just in front of him. Chris Fisher not too far ahead as well. So Max Mass in the space of 7 minutes has gained net total of 7 positions. Really good job by the German.
Some fantastic racing here in this race, as you say. I'm having difficulty picking which battle to bring you on the screen and trying to keep the closest one and the most important one up there, but very, very close nose to tail racing and pretty fair and proper as well, it has to be said.
Absolutely. The biggest controversy so far is Stu Neal's interesting route off at Hawthorne Bend, but obviously not really anything to do with himself, just a small issue between him and Justin. But here we go, Chris Fisher now back under attack from the Welshman, Ben Molan behind him, German Max Mass not far behind, Sibren Stoll in number 68 Clio behind them. He is right behind the SJS car, so one mistake from these front 3 and it does, there we go, there's a mistake from Chris Fisher even, as there we go, Molan now right on the back again and Max Mass right behind them. So this is now the battle for the race lead. We've got cars right behind them that are definitely closing the gap, so this is going to be a potential for a 4-5 way fight for the race win here as Molan continues to put pressure on to Fisher. Fisher finally makes a mistake and concedes the position. There we go, Molan now into the lead. Fisher losing 1 position, maybe 2. There you go, there's the 2nd position lost. He does go from the race lead down to P3, now maybe even P4, and Sibren Stoll is right on the back of him. So Sibren now needs to look for the move into turn 1, Clairvaux and Hawthorne Bend. He may look at it down the inside. Where is the SJS driver? He's pushed him into the gravel. So Chris Fisher's day goes from bad to worse, being bullied off the circuit by a few drivers here. So you can see now Tommy Farrell going through. So Chris Fisher's day goes from bad to worse in the space of half a lap. He's gone from, wait, who's that gone off there? Was that Tommy Farrell? There's Tommy Farrell. He's gone off massively. So he's gone off to find the rallycross circuit there. He's now lost 2 positions. So this has gone from, well, the day's gone bad to worse. Chris Fisher there holding the lead, and then all of a sudden in the space of a lap has lost 3 positions and gone down to P4.
Yeah, absolutely. Pimlott and Hilton having a good battle here with Stu Neal tucked in behind as well. So it's battling up and down the field at this moment in time, but it's knowing where to look, as I keep saying, and we're going to bring you the action as live as we can and as close as we can, and apologise now if we're missing any of your favourite drivers and overtakes, but it's all pretty desperate out there and everyone's trying to scrabble forward, and Max Massey up to a P2, that's a fair old drive from him. We know he has the pace, but to get through a grid like this is very, very difficult.
Absolutely, he's done a really good job, and he's still bearing down on Ben Molan. The Welsh driver definitely under attack from the German behind him. It's looking like there's going to be a straight fight again between the drivers for P3 there. You can see the Tommy Farrell, in fact no, so it's up for P4 now. So you can see there's Chris Fisher, Tommy Farrell side by side. Over the line they went, and I think Tom overtook him on the line. Tom is now ahead. And there you go, Max Mass now in the lead. Somebody put some sandbags or something onto him, because he has now made his way up from P10 to P1 in the space of 10 minutes. Not even half the race is gone, and he's now made his presence known. He's overtaken everybody in front of him up to the front of the field. So, wow, the German doing an incredible job there from P10 to P1 in the space of 10 minutes. Justin Werblove definitely hasn't done as good as he'd have liked. He's lost positions off the start. So has Mark Pimlott. I think Aaron Large has made a few. Ben Malone has lost a position. I think he started on the pole. So Tom O'Farrell now chasing down Alex Curto. So Alex Curto under attack. The Wild Things car. Well, that's a really lovely shade of blue, purple and pink. As they come towards Sunny Inn, it looks like Tom is going to hold off his advances a little bit. Chris Fisher going to P6 after holding the lead for quite a while. He's gone down to P6. Mark Pimlott in the 99, chasing down his, I think, his effective teammate in a Subway car. So 2 Subway cars out on the grid, with them chasing down Aaron Large in his 11's racing car.
Yeah, absolutely, and that lead change, it was worth mentioning that I was watching it on the other screen waiting to cut to it, and it was actually Malone made a mistake and just ran off the track, which handed the lead to Mass. I mean, we knew he's got the pace, but yeah, he just applied enough pressure to cause a mistake and took the lead very, very easily.
Absolutely. Well, it seems that nobody wants the lead except for over them. Everybody that's been in the lead so far caving to a bit of pressure. So this could be 4 from 4 for the German, looking to maybe whitewash the series almost, as he seems to have, well, he seems to have just run away with it so far. He's now already got a gap of a second and a half between him and the young Welsh, well, I think the young Welsh driver of Ben Malone, as Simon Stoll is now bearing down on the number 3 in the 68 SJS car, as Alex Curto is 1.3 seconds back. It's not too much of a challenge there. Mark Pimlott still in the back of Steve Hilton. Aaron Large not too far in the distance, with Justin Welble just behind Stu Neal. Both those two drivers fighting for podiums in race 1, now fighting for the top 10 in race 2. Toby Owen not far behind, so he's still within a shout of the top 10, as Tommy Farrell now on the back of Alex Curtis still, as they fight for 4th place. David Christie there in P13, a little bit of a better showing so far for the Camber Media driver. He is still under attack from Cohen the Group, though the big logo car has not left the back. In fact, there you go, Sibrin Stoll moves past Ben Marlam, so Marlam now down to 3rd place as SJS Games car goes through, and it looks like he's now under attack from Tom and Alex Curto. Canadian looking for a little bit of a move, gets a bump for his troubles from Tom O'Farrell. Tom O'Farrell now down the inside, so a bump and run there possibly, as Alex Curto now comes back out onto the circuit and in front of Tom O'Farrell. These drivers definitely not wanting to give any breathing room to any driver on the circuit, and you can see quite clearly from the racing that they want to race as close as they can to each other.
Looks like Marlam's just run a little bit wide again there and lost 2 more places, and he's going to have to avoid the chicane and possibly lose another 2 places.
Where's
there,
so. Oh, there we go, there he is.
Yeah,
I was about to say, has he just run into a tyre barrier?
Yeah, that's 4 places in 1 corner.
Same corner, he lost the lead. He's just gone down all the way to 7th place. He'll be really disappointed with that, especially after challenging for the podium for most of the race. Toby Owen, a great move, takes 2 cars and goes up to 10th place, as Stu Nealon's now right up in the back with Steve Hilton. So what's happened there? Toby's gone through on 2 drivers. A great move by the series organizer there. Currently, well, I think his current racing series is the Enduro car, with obviously racing in the mini series potentially for next year. So Toby now trying to make the best of his opportunities here in the front wheel drive series, as Chris Fisher is still attacking the back of Aaron Large now. There we go. So the race leader at the start now fighting for P5. Tom O'Farrell now racing for another podium here, with Shibben Stoll sort of comfortably there in P2. 5 seconds back. 5 seconds back. Where's that time come from, Max? Has he flown a few more sandbags out of the car? Because he's run off in the distance now. He's almost 6 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Obviously, we know the rest of the field are fighting a lot, but 5.5 seconds is a huge gap to gain over less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're tripping up over each other. There has been a few mistakes, hasn't there, as well? You know, there's been some slow lap times here and there, and obviously Max is now, he's out on a clear track again, so he's just really, you know, everything out there again, all on the line, and he's really attacking that time, the stopwatch now, and just looking to do what he can do and bring it home for the victory.
Absolutely. Well, he seems to be untouchable in this series. So The French car suiting the German down to the ground as the Capital One car there trying to go through on Chris Fisher in the Fisher Motorsports machine. Looking to the outside at the Jim Clark S's, Justin Wellblood and Mark Pimlock right on the back of them. Toby Owen not too far behind. There you go, Tom O'Farrell finally making a move. Can he get it stopped? He does. That is very impressive as they come through. Sunny in and Sunny out now. Very, very well done there from O'Farrell to make the move, stick, and then jump through into third place. So there we go, Justin Wellblood now in 8th place behind Ben Malone, upholstered for race 2. Not a great day for the 2 cars in front of him, as Justin is now trying to make a few more positions up. He's seen Mass and O'Farrell definitely done their job and got back up to their positions. Wellblood's having a bit of a harder time getting through the field here.
Yeah, he's never give up attitude though. He's pushing on, and he's going to be on the outside for turn 1. But we've seen people pull this move off a few times. He just needs to maybe force Malone a little bit closer. He couldn't do it yet. He backed out of it probably sensibly. He's tucked him back in now, and if he gets a good run through this right-hander into the chicane, he could have the overspeed for the straight and the slight kick left. And he's actually side by side.
Pushes both of them off. So both of them just gone off there. I don't think they come back out safely. They have, but that's allowed Pimlock right to the back again. So Pimlock now. Oh, there's contact. Malone holds the car again, but Wellblood again caught in the walls a little bit. That's allowed Toby and Stu to come right up behind them. So Toby and Stu Neal now right behind them. Toby Owen in the 42 Gridfinder car, right behind the JW's number 30 of Justin Wellblood, as Mark Pimlock's now taking the turn to attack Ben Malone in the number 3. Tommy Farrell now right behind Sibren Stoll. So Sibren now his P2 under threat here from Tom, as Tom taps him. Doesn't do too much damage though, as he does just slot in behind again. You can see in the bottom of the screen there the battle raging on for P7. You can see nobody wanting to give anybody any room. There's a little bit there. I think these guys are all going to bunch up. This could end up becoming a bunch for the podium places. Obviously the guys at the back of the pack won't have much of an opportunity to get to the podium places, but this is bunching up nicely for a very, very close finish.
Yeah, almost a double move from Stoll there as well. He went left, forcing. Oh, Farrell makes a little bit of a mistake there. I think he's got checked up on the brakes, but he'll be looking to. He's got a bit of a gap now between him and Stoll. He might be able to, if he can carry a bit more speed through there, but it doesn't look like he can. Still got a good run, but he's also giving a tow to Curto as well behind him. So this is going to be, like you say, they're all bunching up now. There's a pretty much steady gap between all of them, but that's closing up very quickly. So Farrell gets right back onto Stoll again, but Curto behind him, he's tucked in behind as well, and Aaron Large isn't that far behind.
Absolutely not. You can see, in fact, a lot of the drivers are all the way down to, I think, about 11th place. There's now about less than a second between them all. Obviously, Sibren Stoll being the closest to Max Mass, but almost 10 seconds back now. So there's about a lap to go for Max Mass. These guys are all fighting for essentially podium places, as far back as 10th currently, because about 11th even. And even then Steve Hilton isn't far behind, so these guys could have a big coming together and it could shake up all the standings of the top 10 here so far, as Tommy Farrell still attacks Sibren as he goes around the outside, thinks better of it, comes towards the hairpin. He's going to look down the inside, not have the room to do that. Sibren is going to hold the inside line, hug it a little bit. Curto right behind the 97 of Tommy Farrell. Tommy Farrell still under attack here. Curto definitely giving him no breathing room. Justin Wellblood through, finally past Mark Pimlock, but these three are going to go 3 wide. No, Malone's going to defend from Pimlock, but can't defend from. No, he does. He just about holds the outside line, but I think that might be a track cut there from the Welshman, as Justin Wellblood still pushes behind for that position. So it's currently fighting over 7th place here. Toby Owen just behind the 3 there. He'll have got a good view of that, so obviously the stewards will, I'm sure, will have a note of that. As there we go, Tom Farrell now makes the move. Can he make it stick? Sibren goes back down the inside. These guys are going to go side by side of contact, but it looks okay. I think Sibren's going to slot behind, so we're on the white flag. So Max Mass will come across the line any second now. But these guys are still fighting line and stern. This is not over just yet. Chris Fisher now right on the back of Aaron Large and Alex Curto. So Aaron Large doing a really good job there to get up to P4. Maybe even challenging Sibra before the end of the race here. But Max Mass coming through the final sequence of corners. Now Ben Malone loses 2 positions there, as you can see on the screen as we come through to the final hairpin now. Max Mass, German efficiency through and through here. You can see him come across the final corner now, coming towards the line. You can see he's going to win race 4. 4 from 4 for the German. Toby Owen somewhere off somewhere. Red for Toby, then red for Stu, as they've both had accidents. Justin Wellblood has made his way up to 7th. Malone down to 9th. Here we go as they all come towards the line. Sibren does get a podium. Aaron Large P4, Alex Curto P5, Fisher 6th. Wellblood 7th. Mark Pimot right behind him. Malone in 9th place with Mark Pimot in 8th. Steve Hilton in 10th. 11th Toby Owen, as David Christie finishes 12th. Stu Neal coming across the line now in 13th. Tom Bunton eventually, not as far back as he was at the start, only 3 seconds instead of the 13.
Great racing there. I think everybody will agree that was some good fun there, and well worth watching. And you know, I enjoyed it. It was tough to call, mate. You did a really good job there. It was a difficult one to keep up with, because that race too was absolutely fantastic. And for a race that held, you know, that it had the reverse grid format, that was very clean. You know, it can be a recipe for disaster, can the reverse grid, but on this occasion I think Racecraft came to the front, and the guys should all be very proud of themselves, because they all put on a fantastic show for us, and the racing was just fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see who wants to pop down for a chat now. I'll put a quick ping out into the AC chat, so we'll see who wants to come over and chat. But obviously Max Mass, 4 from 4. I mean, is there anybody in the series that can touch him so far?
It's going to be difficult, isn't it? I mean, that's setting your dominance right from the start there, really. It's you know, it's setting your stall out, putting your marker out, however you want to phrase it. That's a tough act to follow, and an even harder act to beat. So it's going to be it's going to be difficult.
Absolutely. Well, we can talk to our quadruple race winner now. We're gonna bring into the commentary booth here Max Mass. Welcome, Max.
Hello.
Well, I mean, what a race for you. What a race.
Yeah, thank you. The second one was pretty lucky to get just past Justin at the start, I think, because I was really scared of Tom, to be honest. He was keeping up extremely well in the first race in the end, and I was just lucky to get past him at the start of the race, of the second race. Otherwise, it would have been extremely close, I think, because even through all the other guys, he kept up and was always on the timings, and I was also looking in the mirror, waiting for him to show up. But luckily, like, I think Siren almost stayed ahead of him, so congratulations to them for that. But I think in the end, Tom just got past him, right? I think Tom got second.
Absolutely, yeah. Tom was second.
But great race.
Great battling from yourself, obviously, to fight. Well, 4 from 4 now. Obviously, we reverse grid win last time out due to penalties. This time on track merit. I mean, a gap of almost 13 seconds at the end there. Obviously, good job to just keep your head down and keep racing, even through all the incidents, through all the battles. You kept your head clean, and obviously a great job by yourself to make it all the way up to the front.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, like I say, 4 from 4 now. Do you think there's anybody that can get close to you in the next round? I'm not quite sure where the next round is. But,
no, I think there are a few guys. Like if Tom wasn't so lucky at the start, like I said, that would have been a close battle. Or like I think if Andrew would have shown up, I mean, he beat me at Brands at the training race. So yeah, once he's back in the racing again, it's going to be tight.
Absolutely. Well, next round out, in fact, at Scotland at Bannochbrae, obviously a fantasy circuit from up in Scotland. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes and no. I mean, it's an interesting track. I've checked it out already, but it's extremely long, so there's a lot of places where you can make huge mistakes, and I'm kind of scared of that. But if the racing stays like in the first half of the second race today, then I'm extremely looking forward to it. It should be really fun there. Also, since it's a street circuit, it's just shaking up a little bit from Croft, for example.
Absolutely. Well, it was a brilliant drive from yourself. Congratulations on the double race win here at Croft. I don't know if Steve has anything to ask.
Nobody, I think you've covered it all, and yeah, just a well done, Max. Great drive and fantastic racecraft in that second race to come through the grid the way that you did. Absolutely fantastic to watch, and make sure you watch the stream back, buddy, because we caught as much of it as we could. But although the action was pretty frantic in the race too.
I'll make sure of it. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Adam.
Cheers.
No worries. Thank you very much, buddy. Right, next to bring down is our P2 driver from race 2. We have with us Tom O'Farrell. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, how are we doing?
Absolutely great. How are you doing?
A bit tired after that one, if I'm honest. Race 2 was quite arms out and a lot of fighting, so yeah, a bit tired after that.
Absolutely. Well, it looked like a great race from our perspective. You might have to remind us where you finished in race 1, but P2 and race 2 definitely nothing to be too upset about.
Yeah, second in race 1 as well, so yeah, 2 P2s, quite happy with that, especially after my incidents last week where I got told off by the clerk of the course again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Max does it, to be honest. I'm going to have a look back at the replay and find out. He's just so quick out the corners, out the slow corners. I just don't know I honestly don't know how he's doing it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm putting it down to the theory of German efficiency. Just seems to be the optimal line for every corner. But obviously, yeah, you were caught up in the penalties. Well, the penalty fiasco almost at Thruxton. A lot cleaner this time out at Croft. A great battle between you and Alex Curto, the newcomer.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to see some new people in the series. It's fantastic that they're joining us. Yeah, I struggled to get past them for quite a while. So yeah, it's a nice battle. Yeah, as I say, some interesting manoeuvres this time round as well. I ended up on the grass a few times, but I suppose that's the nature of Croft. Really, it's quite a narrow, interesting circuit. So yeah, last time it was just my fault. I completely misunderstood the penalties system, so hopefully I don't get hit by it this time.
Absolutely. Well, next time out at Bannochbrae, the street circuit up in Scotland, are you looking forward to that?
Simply no. I don't know the circuit. I've not raced it before, so I've done a few time trial things around it, but in rear-wheel drive cars. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds interesting. I wish you the best of luck for the next rounds. Hopefully you don't get hit by the penalty ghost. But yeah, absolutely. Well done, Tom. Congratulations.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Now we're going to bring down our P3 driver for this race, Sibren Stoll. Good evening, Sibren. It's very rare that we get to bring you down here to talk about podium, isn't it? Oh, so he's muted himself, so I guess he doesn't want to talk. We're about to get a typed message from him now, but obviously Sibren is here. He's currently trying to sort himself out. Have we got you now, Sibren?
Yes, I think.
There we go. Well, congratulations on that podium.
Thank you.
How was it?
Pretty intense.
Yeah, it definitely looked, obviously, from the beginning. It was an outside shot at the podium to, I think, at one point almost leading the race to now, obviously, a P2 and then right at the end losing it to Tom O'Farrell. What was going through your head when you were currently in that P2 position and almost fighting Max for that race lead?
Not very much, just right, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, with the next round out at Bannochbrae, are you looking forward to it? Do you feel like it's a race where you can continue the fortune and potentially get a second podium?
I hope so. I've never driven the track, actually, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I hope that you enjoy your off time, get some practice in, and best of luck for the next round.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up here, Steve. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for doing such an awesome job with the comms, Adam. I think fantastic nights racing with the Clios. Some really good battles. My favourite was that race 2 and Max's drive through the field, but that's not to take anything away from the guys in the mid pack at the back end. In fact, wherever they were battling, and the battles were close. And on the whole, from what we saw, they were pretty fair. As Tom alluded to, there was a little bit of door banging here and there. It is the nature not only of the track, but I think it's the nature of the cars as well. That one make tin top series where horsepower isn't everything, it's about track position, and you're going to fight for every inch of track that you want. So yeah, absolutely fantastic from me, and I can't wait to be back in 2 weeks up in the virtual Scotland for a bit of road racing.
Absolutely. Well, this isn't just the only series going on here. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown as to what we can see throughout the week from you guys here at Simsport Racing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got a bit of a quiet week this coming week because we've just completed the 6 hours of Silverstone yesterday, so we give our GT3, GT4 drivers the week off this week just to recover. But we will be back this time next week on Sunday evening with the touring cars from iRacing, and that promises to be a good one. I believe that's from Brands Hatch as well, so that's another door banging circuit, the full GP circuit, and that's a full 2 20-minute races, with the second race being a full reverse grid of the cars. So that is, whether there's 15, 20 cars on the grid, whatever, it's a full reverse grid, so that's always an interesting one to follow. But just, yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you like what you're seeing, hit the thumbs up. If you're not quite sure and you don't like it, hit the thumbs down, whatever, just interact with us. Thank you for watching this evening, and once again, thank you, Adam.
Absolutely. Well, just before we sign off, I've just seen a big announcement in the announcements channel here at the Discord. If you're not already part of the community, feel free to always jump in. There's something for everybody here. We're expanding into Race Room, so that should be interesting to see what series come up there. Obviously, we have ACC, we have AC, we have iRacing. Race Room is going to be a great expansion for this community. Obviously, everybody's welcome, whether you're a novice or more experienced sim racer. Definitely always something here for you guys to do. So I think that pretty much wraps it up from myself, from Steve, from everybody here at Simsport Racing International. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely evening, morning, wherever you are. Take care and stay safe.